Right, we live. Pep Talk UK, Benji's Boxing, Pro Beez, a party once more. And we're on air with some breaking news from earlier on. Like literally breaking, you know, like when glass shatters. That's what I mean by breaking. Hey, I think you know what we're talking about, Benji. The big fight. The Megatron fight. Signed. All right, so look, Joshua Fury contract signed, and Tyson Fury had me fooled last week. You know, I thought he weren't happy. I thought we'd have more delays, but it looks like it's virtually done. Just a site fee and a date. What do you make of that, Benji? What do you make of it? You convinced?
Well, hello all.
Yeah.
It's awesome as always. I nearly swore then straight off the bat. It's awesome to be back on Pep Talk with Pro Beez. This is the best place for the news, reviews. No, the best place for boxing news, reviews, and interviews. There you go. I've just had to have a lie down because it was quite a busy weekend with the wife's birthday, the mother-in-law's birthday, and Mother's Day. Of course, it's been a busy weekend, so hopefully I'm going to get with it in a minute. But last night, Pro B sends me a text message, says, do you want to do a live chat on Monday evening? The answer to that is, of course, always going to be, of course. What are we talking about? Oh, we're going to talk about Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, a slightly different subject to what we are now going to talk about, because obviously, like you say, the breaking news of there's actually some signatures on paper. And like you say, the glass is smashed. It's a glass smash moment. And I'm of a generation where the glass smashes. You think Stone Cold Steve Austin's coming out of the ring. And what is more exciting than that? So the glass is smashed. We're erupting. We're getting excited because we think a monumental event like Stone Cold Steve Austin is coming to the ring is going to happen. So yeah, it's hard not to get excited. But as you can see, Ken has just joined us. And while I might be very, very excited and getting my hopes up because I'm an eternal optimist, Kenny is much more of a realist in that he's, anyone who tuned into this last week knows that Kenny's a bit more down to earth. And Kenny, it's great to see you. No doubt you're going to tell us why this fight's probably still not going to happen.
I'm definitely going to do that. But, first and foremost, I just want to, pay my condolences because we've lost one of the greatest fighters of our generation. Marvelous Marvin Hagler died on the 13th of March. Like I said, early hours of 13th of March, leaves a wife, an ex-wife and 3 kids. The king of the middleweights from Unbeaten for 7 years. It's a shock to the system. Everyone in boxing has had a bad weekend. So I just want to play my, best wishes to the family of Marvelous Marvin Hagler, because it's been a very humbling time. We're very excited about a great fight, but someone like Marvelous Marvin Hagler, you think about Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, the rivalry, but we had Marvelous Marvin Hagler. He had a fight with Roberto Duran in '83, Tommy Hearns, that classic in '85, and then his last ever fight in the ring with Sugar Ray Leonard. And, he was part of a quartet of some of the greatest fighters of all time. And there was a time during the 80s when the middleweight division, welterweight division, which all the 3 greats were a part of, they were the money fights, as opposed to the glamorous division that we're going to be talking about in a minute. So it's been a bad weekend for boxing.
Bad weekend. And do you know what? I know you can't substitute, the fact that we lost the great, and I think if there's anything to kind of lift the spirits in the boxing community, the boxing world, for the fans, that is a mega fight. That is a mega fight. And we're going to take your reactions to Fury versus Joshua. Contracts are signed. Wow. Do you know what? I'm going to take another sip of my coconut water because it's been signed. Right. Okay. All right. So look, Benji, first and foremost, all right, it was only last week that we had a conversation and it was all speculative, right? We were seeing in the mainstream media, comments from Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum, that, look, just relax. It's going to be signed. We're close. We're close. We're close. So a week on, and things are signed. You got to believe in the promoters, right? Believe in what the promoters say.
Well, I wouldn't go that far because, you know, the promoters and middlemen and managers and all this sort of thing, there's always a lot of there's always a lot of guff coming about. You know what I mean? They're always spinning something and putting something out. So, and you know, a lot of the time as boxing fans, we get put into a position of who do we believe? I mean, just before coming out online here, I was looking over Twitter and someone did put out the idea that, okay, Eddie Hearn's saying things are signed. Eddie Hearn's quite positive about things. All we need now is Aram and Frank Warren to come out and say, oh, I don't know why Eddie Hearn's saying this because we don't agree with this at all. And then you have Anthony Joshua say, well, hold on, we did sign. Then Tyson Fury says, sign something, I didn't sign something. And then we as boxing fans, we're left in this position of who the hell do we believe? So I'm hoping that situation doesn't arrive. But as I said last week, there's no smoke without fire. And I'm cautiously optimistic. Now, I do agree that you can't believe necessarily that the fight is going to happen until the two boxers are in the ring. That's when it is surely a reality. And we've been in this situation many times before. Mayweather, Pacquiao, even Lewis Tyson. You know, it was... is this fight actually going to happen? And of course, with Lewis Tyson, they got into the ring and it was separated by a wall of security people. And even right up to the first bell, you kind of thought, is Mike Tyson going to do something ridiculous, run across the ring, get disqualified before the first bells even rang? That's the nature of the sport of boxing. But for me, this announcement today, that it's been signed, we've just got to wait on locations and venues and dates. I don't actually think that's the big stumbling. That's as big a stumbling block as the less positive people are making it out to be. But this is another step closer to this fight being a tangible thing. What is it that you're actually eating there, Kenny?
My daughter's ice lollies.
Oh, right, sounds lovely, mate.
A lemonade, actually Schweppes lemonade ice lolly. Schweppes, not just good. Any old, and not any old lemonade. Schweppes lemonade.
All right, so Kenny, look, do you think that Tyson Fury's words last week, you know, that MTK Global show, one up in Bolton, he kind of seemed a bit downbeat, like, look, I've stopped training because I haven't got a fight date. I haven't got a fight to look forward to. He seemed like a little bit downhearted. Do you think that kind of tipped the scales to get this fight contract signed?
I would have thought so because, as I said last week, Tyson Fury doesn't want to hang around because he hasn't fought since last February when that brilliant performance in Deontay Wilder. He wanted to fight Wilder in a rematch, but he's saying that the rematch expired. He wanted to fight BT Sport in December, but it was unrealistic. He's not an anti-Joshua. He is, as Benji correctly pointed out, he's not going to fill a stadium. He's not even going to get 2,000 people to watch him fight, even under restricted conditions. So really and truly, it was a non-starter. But in terms of what Tyson Fury does, he's always playing the game and saying, I'm not sure, and blah, blah. But one thing we have noticed about Tyson Fury since he's fought Wilder is that there's the Tyson Fury that was on IFL last week that was despondent and blah, blah. But I'm telling you now, Tyson Fury is in fight mode already. He trains at least 3 times a week. He's running. He's lifting weights. Trust me, he's on it. He's ready. The legs are strong. He's ready whenever the dates get announced. So he's going to go in his camp with Sugar Hill, maybe in America, and then he'll get ready. So Tyson Fury's definitely be ready for that fight. I can definitely guarantee that. But one thing that Tyson Fury is going to be annoyed at is probably maybe not having a warm-up fight. So in retrospect, we need to have the fight within maybe June, July at the latest. Because if Tyson Fury has to wait around in September and maybe October and November, I could see Tyson Fury thinking, nah, this is want it, either say no way, I'm not interested, or you've got to let me have at least one warm-up fight in the summer before I fight Anthony Joshua in November. And I think that's where people like yourselves, you know, like Bob Arum, Frank Warren, you know, DAZN and Eddie Earn going to think, no. We don't want you go, you know, like I said, either lose or you get a cut and then we have to put the fight back, because remember Tyson Fury got cut pretty badly by Otto Wallin. So it's all those sort of things that, you know, that are going to be an obstacle. But Tyson himself I still feel that Tyson himself is the biggest obstacle to these 2-fight deal. I really do. And I think a lot of it's to do with his mental state.
Okay, all right. Guys, smash that like button. Kenny Ken, Benji's boxing in the building. All right, we'll engage some of your comments. All right. Location of the fight yet to be named. I believe they got 28 days to find that site, to find a site to host the fight. So there's still a little bit more work to be done.
Surely there's got to be a short list, though, because I would have thought a condition of that of the signing today would be that they've got a short list, you know, just pulling stuff out my arse here, like Vegas, Saudi, you know, and maybe a short list of dates that both boxers have said, yeah, okay, I'll box in that location, I'll box in that location, I'll box in that date, and I'll box in that date. I don't, if that wasn't, you know, if there wasn't a short list of dates and venues, I don't see how they could have agreed to sign today. Does that make sense?
I think what it is, Benji, I think what it was is that the whole thing about them signing was all about the terms, the monetary terms. And I think in terms of like things like the site, you know, and who's going to have to sort of bid for the TV rights, I think that's something for the promoters and the TV stations that are attached to the name of the fighters. But in terms of like, you know, people talk about Wembley, and I could guarantee you now that's a no-no. Because you got to look at it logically. They're having test events. The Carabao Cup final, Man City, Tottenham, and then you've got the FA Cup final, and then from the 17th onwards, UEFA, because of Euro 2020, are going to want to take control of Wembley Stadium because UEFA got England matches. They've got the 2 semi-finals and the final, so that belongs to UEFA. So by the time Euro 2020 finishes in July, there's not enough time to just think, all right, let's have a turnover of the boxing. It can be done, because look what happened with the FA Cup final in 2014. Arsenal played Hull City. 2 weeks later, we had George Groves versus Carl Froch too. So it can happen, but I don't see it. But that's when Wembley are totally control of it. But Wembley are not in control. It's UEFA's party. So UEFA are going to put down their advertising, have all the pitch dimensions, the stadium dimensions as well. So really and truly, we have to rule out the United Kingdom as a no-no. So again, as Benji says, you know, Las Vegas, yeah, that's where the money is. But as I said last week, we've got to look at the untouched territories in the Middle East, where, you know, albeit, you know, it wasn't a great fight to watch, you know, Joshua versus Ruiz too. But in terms of like the facilities, in terms of the money and the interest in the fight, Mecca did a very, very good job. So there has to be a consideration. Plus, we've got to think about European TV viewers as well. They're going to want to watch. They're not going to exactly going to want to get up and watch 2 British fighters, 2 European fighters at 5 o'clock in the morning. That's a no-no. That's something that European.
Well,
because
I slightly disagree with that, though, mate, because, you know, there's opportunity in all these things. And, you know, we have seen in the past, you know, pubs broadcast these fights in the early hours. And there's opportunity there. I mean, I don't think that the fans get thought of too much. Yeah. I think we get taken a little bit as mugs and for granted at times, because I think behind closed doors, they'll just say, you know, we'll put it in this country, this location. Oh, the British fans are going to have to get up at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. Yeah. And then it'll just be a case, well, they will. We put it on, they will, because it's such a big event. They ain't going to want to miss it.
I hear you, Benji, but I hear you. You're spot on exactly, because I think, you know, diehard boxing fans will go out to support Tyson Fury, will go out to support Joshua, because they've got a massive, supporter basis within, diehard boxing fans. But I think as boxing's become a TV sport, it's very much a casual boxing fan. That, that Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren are going to be looking after because casual boxing fans feel Wembley. Casual boxing fans feel Cardiff Arms Park, or shall we say the Millennium Stadium. All that.
No, you're right.
All that
you're right.
So really and truly, it's a casual boxing fans are going to buy their pay-per-view.
But at the same time, though, casual boxing fans, if they know the pub is going to be open at 5 o'clock in the morning and they can stay drinking late, and they're going to stay and do it with the fight as an excuse,
I fully agree with you. But ultimately, it's an all British world title fight. And the actual, obviously, in terms of like trying to sell the fight, you're probably going to sell the fight in England. Obviously, you don't want to sell it to the United States because, United States, they want to have the strongest man, the fastest man in the 100 meters, and they want to have the world heavyweight champion because they think it's their divine right to have those two titles. But ultimately, in terms of fan bases, it really is a British fight, and I would like to think that consideration in terms of like viewing times may be given to fighters.
But here's the travesty, isn't it? Everything you've just said, and the fight's not going to, more than likely, I think we're all kind of agreed, the fight ain't going to be happening in Wembley in this country. And that's the travesty of it.
Well,
that's the real kick in the teeth, isn't it?
I think the thing is, Benji, I think there's extenuating circumstances that it's because it's because of Euro 2020 and the fact that UEFA have got complete control over the stadium. And, in terms of advertising, that's going to cut it fine if we were going to have a fight around July. Because you want to build the fight. You want it to be the biggest event ever. But you don't want it to compete with Euro 2020. You know what I mean? In terms of like football all around Europe. Football, and boxing should never, ever compete. Never.
No, well, that's it.
All right, guys. Smash that like button. Kenny Ken, Benji's Boxing in the building. All right, we're going to try and get through your comments as quick as we can. We'll get everyone involved. All right. James Everall. I've seen him a few times on the channel. Hope we had a good weekend, mate. All right. Hearing things about a 28-day time frame to agree venue, date, etc., or it goes back to negotiations again. Well, yeah, that's the point. Apparently was quoted by Eddie Hearn and also a top rank inside source as well. So it might go back to square one real soon. All right, we're gonna get in Lady Chann.
Yeah,
she's back.
Hi,
she is back.
Sorry, I'm late. Can you hear me?
I can
hear you.
Oh, hi,
Loud and clear.
Nice to meet you all. Sorry,
nice to meet you as well.
Hey, look, it's good to get. You know what? We've had all the big bruising men have their opinion about these contracts being signed, but it's also nice to hear the ladies have their perspective on this mega fight.
Hang on, I've got some tech issues. Like I feel like I've frozen this. Okay, yeah, I'm back. Like this Yappy is doing a madness. Yeah, sorry, Pro. Yeah, lady. My opinion on where we
contracts being signed. Yeah,
contracts being signed. Yeah, but this is the thing. Wasn't contracts are supposed to have already been signed last year? That was the thing. Oh, the contracts are signed. We've already got the 50-50 that we know it's 50-50. Why is this breaking news? Even though I reported it on my channel as breaking news.
Subscribe to Lady Chann's done them season, yeah?
Yeah. Why is it breaking news? Like, you've got Tyson Fury saying a whole heap of XYZ, looking definitely in the sweltest condition that we've ever seen him, but saying that he's not training. Goes on NTK Global, trips up and says he was only sparring the day before. But then sends out these things with, like old stuff of him running into the sea with a jiggly belly. Tyson Fury is the master of deception.
I agree.
Decepticons,
I think he likes to think he's the master of deception, but I think the four of us, because everything that you've just said about that interview, about him looking in shape, the contradictions, and I don't think he's as good at deception as he actually thinks he is.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Correct, Benji, correct. I think you're right. I just don't know where this is all going. Is it really going to be pushed back? Because, you know, sometimes fights of a massive magnitude, like they can't be sorted out sometimes within like 2 months. Like if the fight was really happening realistically in like June, July, promotion would have to already start now, to be fair.
They were long PR run, yeah.
Well,
that's true.
It can't happen in June, July, as I said earlier before you came on.
Yeah.
Because of Euro 2020. If we're looking to have it in this country, because as I was saying earlier, you know, UEFA have got control of Wembley for the semi-final, the finals, and the England games as well. So the only alternative is the Millennium Stadium. But again, you know, when we had the announcement of George Groves and Carl Frotz, you know, 7 years ago, we knew in February, and then we knew the fight was going to be in the 31st of May. So we had a 3 months notice,
right?
And the fighters can get training. In terms of like, Tyson Fury is already in training, as he says, and so, maybe Joshua is. But I think once we get the site venue and maybe the TV, you know, bidding rights as well, I think that's when we can move. But I do have concerns about Tyson Fury's, you know, ability to be patient because of his mental state. I don't think he's going to wait around for a November or December date,
which could delay the fight even longer.
But okay, well then, sorry, Ken.
Yeah. No. Sorry, one more thing I was going to say is he's going to want a warm-up fight, surely, isn't he?
That's what I was just going to say. But like, he's got 2 fights left on his contract, and like the warm-up fight is still going to have to be a part of his contract, but it's also still going to have to be lucrative to Bob Arum, to Top Rank, and to Frank Warren, because otherwise it just makes no sense. And that's why I feel that he's dabbling back with the Wilder thing, because, you know, who else could...
Did that force the hand, Shan? Did that force the hand?
Yeah.
The mention of Wilder, it forced the hand, right, to sign? You reckon?
Because of the continuous mentioning of him, because who else could he really fight? Because the other fighters, he could really fight loads of other people. But what I'm saying, those other like top 10, which Tyson Fury's resume is rubbish. He's never really fought that many top 10, maybe 2, 3. Like I did his resume list yesterday. Those people are too high risk, low reward. So, like, say he went in with a Carlos Takam. Takam high risk.
Takam's dangerous. Reward. No doubt.
Takam would probably beat the brakes off of him, like, or give him a good run for his money and have him injured, and then would he really be ready for November? Yeah. Who else could we put him? Who else could? I think I know Deontay Wilder isn't high risk, low reward. He's actually, he is. He's still a high risk, low reward.
He's dangerous,
but
man.
You know what it is? He's dangerous, but I feel that Tyson Fury's like, I know the key to how to beat him up. So I'll just quickly do that, beat him up, get a high paycheck, and then move on to Joshua. All the others ain't really going to command a massive, a pay-per-view fight, to be fair.
Lady Chann, I've got to flag this up for you, man. This is for you, all right, from Blade Man.
He forgot the second end. Blades, man. It's 2 ends.
Right.
It's
listen,
definitely 2 ends.
Blade Man, if you know her IG handle, just slip into the DMs.
Oh Lord! Thank you very much. Anyway, for your compliment.
All right, look. Okay, so would we say that Joshua, right? Having had that fight in December, it's a clear run for him. You know, he's been in camp for a Pulev fight. He's had the fight. He's looked good in the fight.
Yeah.
And then basically he's continued training.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury.
Damage.
Yeah. Some people might say Tyson Fury might take those factors into account and say, hold on a minute. I might need my warm up. Okay, yeah, we've signed contracts, right? But I don't know. I think I might need that warm up for a Joshua fight. This is the question mark.
You know why that's his business? Because he was supposed to fight either Takam or Caballero in December the 5th. He decided all of a sudden there was no money, there was no crowd, even though previously he said he didn't mind fighting with no crowd. That all got negated for some reason. There was no mention There was no mention of it. I interviewed. It went from him negotiating for a week, and then all of a sudden, all negotiations dropped and ceased. Like Tyson Fury's team stopped addressing Carlos Takam. So you're ducking, fam. Like, that's your business. You could have fought in December. Everybody else did their thing. Everybody did it under COVID restrictions. That's your business. Because by the time, if you don't do a warm-up in these next up-and-coming months, and you wait until November, December to fight Joshua, you've nearly been inactive for 2 years. Your business. Not Joshua's fault. You and your team's fault.
Wow. All right. Okay. We can have our little, we can have our own debate, but we've got to engage some of the viewers as well. Guys, smash that like button. Subscribe to Lady Chann's channel as well. Dundem Season on YouTube. Subscribe to Benji's Boxing.
I can't hear you now. This happened to me yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know why it happened. I know you guys can hear me. You can hear me, innit?
I can hear you.
Right, I don't know what happened. Let me just leave, and come back in.
All right.
Yesterday on my show.
No problem.
I don't know why.
All right, we're going to engage the viewers. All right, Lady Chann to come back real soon. Let's get these questions and let's get this reaction from the viewers. All right. Okay. Raw. Texas is lifting restrictions, but 2 Brits won't sell out a stadium in America, especially not a patriotic location like Texas. Benji.
Sorry, Kenny, if you want to jump in, you can.
No. I just sort of took a gulp because I was thinking, I started laughing. I wasn't going to jump in. I just laughed because I leave it to you, man. Because this is a question that I think is for you, Benji, because it was the way he said it that made me laugh in agreement with him, but you may disagree with it.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I watched that IFL interview with Tyson Fury today to make sure that I was sort of, clued up on it and things like that. The amount of contradiction that Tyson Fury did in that interview. He said that he was a world boxing superstar, and that's why he wouldn't fight in Britain again, because a world boxing superstar has to fight in big venues and big places and not in small hall shows. Well, if you're a world boxing superstar, why would you be in a small hall show? If you're boxing in England, you'd be selling out Wembley Stadium. So according to Tyson Fury, he's a world boxing star, so there should be no problem with them selling out a venue in Texas, should there? Because Tyson Fury just claimed that he was a world boxing star and he's only going to fight over in America because that's his sort of new home where they've all taken him in. So Tyson Fury believes that he personally is very, very popular over in the States. Anthony Joshua has boxed, over there against Ruiz. I believe it sold quite well. I don't think it was empty or anything like that. But again, it depends. It really depends on the size of the venue, because if they put it in one of these huge American football stadiums, maybe, Ra's probably right. It probably wouldn't sell out, a massive venue like that. One of the smaller arenas, like a basketball arena or something like that, that's configured correctly, it probably would look quite full. And again, what's the promoter's job? The promoter is to sell tickets, is to get the venue sold out. So if Texas is the chosen venue, then the powers that be who are making this fight happen, they have to be confident that it's going to sell and they're going to, sell it out and do all this sort of thing. I mean, my background's in the music industry. I've owned a live music venue. I know what goes into putting an act in a room and getting people to come in and see it. And I know what happens when you put an act in a room and you don't tell anyone that act is in that room on that night, and no one comes in and everyone acts surprised. Well, why hasn't this sold out?
Yeah.
And ultimately, it comes down to, if you put something on in a room that no one wants to see, or you don't tell everyone about it and hype it and everything like that. So the whole Texas thing is an interesting one. I partially agree with that comment about 2 Brits filling the stadium in Texas. Fair point. A stadium, one of these massive American football arenas, because they are huge, these things. That might be difficult. But one of the, an arena like a basketball arena, something slightly smaller, I think they could do it. And if you believe Tyson Fury at his word, he told us himself that he is a global boxing superstar. They should have no problem. So that was just one of the many, many contradictions that was in that Tyson Fury interview. Right. Anyway, good to see that Lady Chann is back with us.
Live Chann's back.
Do you know what?
Can I just say salute to H Money? H Money salute right back.
Oh, H Money's in the building.
Yeah,
salute H Money. Devin Haney Promotions in the building.
Yeah.
Always
good to see him. All right. Can we just be a little bit positive and say, okay, the fight is actually going to happen? And I just want you to kind of visualize what the press conference would be like. Visualize that.
Well, Joshua said it's going to be he's going to bring up some of the antics of Tyson
Batman.
Fury
I would like to see Batman come back.
When Tyson Fury dressed up as Batman.
So we're gonna have Batman and half the cast of the In-Betweeners show up.
It's going to be an interesting one. According to Anthony Joshua, I said it's going to be interesting. I don't know why he told us first. I don't know why he just didn't say nothing and then just do the press conference and do what you're doing. Now we're all looking and waiting for something mad to happen.
Yeah, but it's mind games. It's mind games because you know what it's like if you tell people it's a fancy dress party, or you just tell one person it's a fancy dress party, and then they show up and everyone else is in posh suits, and then some bloke or whatever comes walking in fancy dress, and you'll go, "What the hell have you come dressed like that for?" And they feel really stupid. Maybe that's the plan. Anthony Joshua was basically telling Tyson Fury, it's a fancy dress costume. Then when Fury comes waltzing in dressed up like God knows what, everyone else is like, "Well, what are you doing that for?"
No one will say, "Oh, what are you doing that for?" Everyone will just love it. Everyone will still love it and go, "Oh, it's Fury, you know him." Yeah, it's never going to look bad anyway that he rolls in to this press conference. Not at all. Not at all.
Maybe Spider-Man this time. That might be interesting.
Or maybe Thor, because he's like big Thor.
Yeah, 100%. All right, guys, smash that like button. Lady Chann in the building. Benji's boxing. Ken. The biceps on that fella. Bloody hell, man.
Ken, stop trying to contend with me.
You like a t-shirt.
Ken, are you trying to contend with me? I've got the guns, Ken. I've got the guns.
I know. I can see little gun there.
Show the triceps, and Lady Chann.
You like that?
Try.
Oh, okay, look. You see. Guys, you got to smash that like button.
Come on. Yeah, you got
it. Both of you, you need to go down the vet because those swans are sick. You know what I mean? Those swans are sick. Get to the vet.
Don't be jealous, Benjamin. Don't be jealous.
Okay, all right. Alan Clark says, Fury is the master of mind games. He had the web going mad after Friday's talk at the MTK show. I think it's fair to say that, Kenny.
Oh, yeah, but if you think with Tyson Fury, when it's fight time, Tyson Fury's on it. Going back to Benji's point about him saying that, that he's massive in America. And I think that's all down to Bob Arum. Because, you're talking about how Bob Arum wants to, he's the one who's going to sell the fight. Look what happened with Terence Crawford. He was blaming Terence Crawford for the fight, not
self-promoting. Yeah.
It should have been self-promoted. Well, someone like Tyson Fury could do that. But the thing with Tyson Fury, right, in England, he can't sell a stadium. No way a British fight fan's going to watch that. They're not going to watch him, switch southpaw, but do a few jabs, a few combinations and walk out and put his head forward. They don't want that. British fight fans want a battle. They want to tear up. Tyson Fury's not going to give them that. So in terms of that point going to Benji, in terms of the master disguise, look what happened with Deontay Wilder fight last year. He was limping around and to see if one of his
WWE event,
a WWE event. And then what happens? He's as fit as Larry. What about the antics of his dad and his uncle? For the first Klitschko fight. Oh, we're going to go home with you. Don't sort out the ring. The ring is too bouncy, and it's giving them an advantage. All waffle, mate. All rubbish. he played the fool when he fought Klitschko, and Klitschko was going around like he's some sort of psychologist. Is that I'm Dr. Stillhammer, and with my fist, this magic hand. I'm going to take you to reality rehab, and I'm going to teach you a lesson like I taught David Haye. Who got taught a lesson?
Right.
Klitschko, and I think that's with Tyson Fury. In order to get himself up for a fight, he's going to try and do the master disguise. He's going to basically sell it as this. Anthony Joshua is a corporate champion of the British people. I'm the people's champion. I'm the man in the street. They love me. All these superstars, film stars, pop stars, they all love Anthony Joshua. He's this corporate man. I'm the man of the people. And I think that's what it's going to come down to, in terms of they're both going to go on GMTV, go on every TV station around the country, and that's how it's going to be: good versus evil, working class versus the upper class. Look, you can tell that's how they're going to promote this fight.
Yeah. I'm fed up with the mind games. It's boring.
Did you guys at all see that report about what Bob Arum said to the fans that were being impatient last week about the fight not being signed, and he told them to F themselves? Something tells me that was part of the reason why it got signed, because look, out there a lot of people are getting frustrated. They were saying, okay, why is this fight not signed? Because we keep hearing another 2 weeks, then another 3 weeks, then another 2 weeks. So I think maybe that was part of speeding up the process.
Look, I think they're playing a waiting time, because the thing is, right, let's face it, ideally you want two things, right? You got the 50-50 split. You want a stadium where it's full of fans. All right, you don't want empty spaces. You don't want to be in an 80,000 stadia where you can only have 40,000. You're not going to break even there. You want everything to be on spot. You want the TV buys in terms of pay-per-view. You want the ticket sales, and then you want to find the TV time, and maybe you want it to go 12 rounds. You want it all with this fight. I think it's going to be a travesty if we're still in these sort of COVID-19 times where you're not going to get a full stadium.
Right.
That's why
I'll just have to interject and tell you, it's not 50-50. It's 50-40. 5% to Lady Chann, 5% to Pro Beez.
Of course, yeah, man.
Yeah,
all right,
I
forgot about
Sorry
that.
to announce that. Sorry to announce that.
Yeah.
All right, so it's 45-45.
Thanks for reminding me.
So what do me and Benji get in? What do me and Benji get in?
Well, poking the eye with a stick,
Chan.
Now we're going to have all our family members that we didn't have before now asking for money now, Pro.
Those missing uncles and aunties. Yes.
That anonymous.
Oh, God. I had to bait it up, innit? I had to bait it up.
I know, you have to,
yeah.
Hi. Such a life. I just think, but listen, with that regards, is there's a lot of places that are open. That, like you said, Dallas Stadium is open. The whole of state of Texas is open. The whole state of Florida is open as well. So Florida, Miami, they've got a massive stadium there. Also, the Middle East is also open, but the only thing, if it falls in June, which I doubt it does, Ramadan's on, so that may.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And then, but there's lots of other spots open. Malaysia's open, Australia's open.
True.
You know. Yeah. So I don't see why they can't just get the venues done.
The thing about Texas, though, about Texas, right? If it was like a Mexican, say it was Andy Ruiz, right? Texas, it's got a lot of Mexicans in Texas and California. If Andy Ruiz Jr. is fighting one of these guys in Texas, boom, fight sold, man. Boom, boom.
True.
But I'm still unconvinced that two British fighters are going to sell out an American stadium. And I still think, I know it sounds selfish. This is our fight. We don't Americans. This is ours. They're both British. True. One's from Manchester, one's from London. This is where everyone's talking about it. You know what I mean? I don't think everyone in America's going, oh yeah, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. Yeah, let's get all these buys. This is where the interest is. Europe and Great Britain. Let's try and get it in Mecca, where we can get the most TV buys by having it at a reasonable time, you know, any time between 9 o'clock, 10:30, you know, pre-prime time, and let's just go where the interest is.
All right. Do you know what? I've just seen one of the comments, right? It's saying that Chann and Kenny Ken are biased towards Joshua. And that's
Adam
Beanie Smith.
Where?
About your comment about
look,
okay.
can I just
biased and one-sided.
Look,
these lives would be so much better. It's biased and one-sided in Joshua's favour. Lady Chann says Takam beats Fury. No, mate, I said it's possible. He could give him, and then I said he could give him a run for his money. Is that a lie? What do you want me to say?
Well, look,
lie. I just
replied.
hate these people that they're just losers in life. Like I come in here just to be just all normal, and then they have to make me spaz out. Go away, Adam. Go away.
No, hold on. I just hold on.
Take him off the screen because he's over my face. Get off.
Yeah, take it off. But the thing is, I replied to this comment. In the comments, and look, no one, in my opinion, no one has on this live show has stated anything that is not rooted in fact. If someone comes on this live show and starts talking utter twaddle and saying things that's not factual, I am going to be the first one to start having a ruck and having a debate. No one has said something that's not factual. Everything that has been said so far has been factual, whether it's pro-Fury or whether you read it as being pro-Fury or anti-Fury. Now, the thing is, as I said in the comments, Beez could get some mad Fury fan that is going to, wow us all with just madness and undiluted nonsense. But let's face it, it would probably be quite an entertaining debate, for someone like me to rip that apart. But it lowers the integrity of the channel. So the thing is, people need to understand that just because people are saying facts that you don't like, just because people are saying facts that you read as being anti-Fury, that's your own bias, right? But the reason why I personally come on this channel regularly for Beez is because the guests that they talk fact and rooted in fact, and it has integrity. Anyway, sorry, Lady Chann, rant over.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's all right, Benji. No, massively appreciated. But I've just seen what he said. You said Takam would beat Fury on another channel, on my channel, with the American guy. So that means you're a follower of mine. You're a subber, or you're one of those unsubbers that everywhere I go, you go, Adam. It's cool. I say the same thing because it's called consistency, mate. Takam could possibly beat Fury. Just because I'm on another platform doesn't mean I say this on that platform and then I come on this platform and say another thing. Then you could say X, Y, Z. Takam could beat Fury, whether you like it or not, Adam. And he may not beat Fury, whether we like it or not. I'm not a Fury, massive Fury fan, but I'm telling the truth. You don't like it, go away, stop stalking me.
Yeah, I've got one more thing to say about it just before we go, because I want to add my thing as well. Because Adam, you need to get your facts right as well. In terms of Tyson Fury fights, I've been to both Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua fights. I've been to a Frank Warren promotion. I've been to Hennessy promotion, and I've been to every promotion you could talk about, right? So I know about, like in terms of ticket sales. I've been to Tyson Fury fighting Derek Chisora at the XL Arena, right? Before the fight before, which wasn't the main event, was Billy Joe Saunders and Chris Eubank Jr. It was full of people from the travelling community. All of them were standing in the chairs around us, and we all stood in chairs in order so we could see the fight. The minute that fight finished and the decision was made in favour of Billy Joe Saunders, all the crowd left. And it was a sparse crowd to see Tyson Fury fight Derek Chisora. That's a fact. Tyson Fury's last fight in the UK was in Belfast on the undercard, I think, of a Frampton fight. So that's not us being slagging off Tyson Fury. We're talking about his appeal and the ticket sales. In terms
He's still going on now.
And the worst thing about Adam, get your facts straight as well. I'm a massive Tyson Fury fan. And that's a fan. And if you stay and watch this broadcast, if people ask my opinion who I think is going to win the fight, I'll go on what I believe in terms of boxing ability and adaptability in the ring, and that may be Fury, and it may be Anthony Joshua. So, Adam, you really need to get your facts right and stop being emotional. You're a Fury fan. We respect that. But let's just accept the fact that we're not going to have any influence on who's going to win the fight. It's the fighters.
No.
So don't make it personal, Adam.
Guys, can't we just all get along?
Yeah, like I'm an AJ fan, but I can see how Fury could beat him. And I can see how AJ could beat Fury. Like it's one of the toughest fights. It is the toughest fight of their careers, both of them. So I don't know where you're going. And he's saying Lady Chann thinks Joshua White and Takam all beat Fury. I wonder why. I don't know. I've never actually said that. So we'll just keep moving along anyway. Like whatever, mate.
Right.
Giving you too much shine.
All right, this is over to you, Benji. All right, and then we'll just open it out. Okay, so Ellie, big up Ellie, 113.
Hi, Ellie.
I almost said 112. Remember that 112?
Yeah.
The R&B group. All right, that's another podcast.
I love them.
All right. Okay, so she's saying how people are saying Joshua's mentally weak is absolutely beyond me. Okay, look, Benji, mentally weak. All right, I've seen in the boxing forums that some people are saying Tyson Fury, can go into the trenches more, and he's got more about him when it gets tough. Is that something that you would agree with, or kind of say otherwise?
Well, so let me get this straight. The people who are going to be saying that Anthony Joshua is mentally weak, more than likely are going to be Fury fans that have a Fury bias. Have they not forgotten that their hero, Tyson Fury, twice turned down a rematch with Vladimir Klitschko? And then
Deontay Wilder with the trilogy.
Well, hold on a second.
He did.
We're talking about mental toughness. After that Klitschko fight, Fury comes back to this country and mentally falls apart for 2 years.
And vacates all the belts.
Yeah, and couldn't sell out Manchester Stadium. They had the ticket sales for the 2 times they tried to make the fight. But the thing is, let's stay on the old mental strength here. Yeah. Now, you cannot start saying that Anthony Joshua is mentally weak when we know that Tyson Fury has had mental stability problems. So the thing is, if I wanted to make a case for Anthony Joshua being mentally strong, I would bring up the fact that, he won an Olympic gold medal. To go through that tournament from the start to the finish and pick up that gold medal, that takes a certain amount of mental toughness. That's a very difficult thing to win because you're boxing throughout the whole of the week. And you have, it's a complete strain on the body. Other reasons why Anthony Joshua is mentally strong, well, he took a loss and he came back from that loss and he avenged it. And that takes certain mental toughness to do. Right. So the thing is, if people want to say that Anthony Joshua is mentally weak, I believe that comes across to me as biased Fury fans looking for chinks in the armor and looking for things that are going to try and comfort them that Fury's going to win. But going back to what Kenny said, all this is nonsense. Fans talking on forums, even us talking on here tonight.
We debate. Ain't personal, just debate.
Exactly. Yeah. We ain't going around forums saying Anthony Joshua is mentally weak does not help Tyson Fury win the fight. It does it.
Do you know what? Okay. For me, any fighter that gets in the ring or that actually trains as a professional boxer full-time ain't mentally weak. If you've done the training right with pros or you're a pro yourself, you need to be mentally tough just for the training alone. All right. So I can't really agree with that. But what I would say is, look, we've seen Joshua get off the floor in Wembley in front of 90,000 fans to beat Klitschko. That is not mental weakness. We saw Tyson Fury get off the floor against Deontay Wilder.
Twice.
I still don't know how he done it. Like, he got bloody Undertaker.
It's one of the best recoveries of all time, in my opinion.
So I don't think either is mentally weak. No, I'm just looking forward to these two getting in the ring.
I just want to address quickly Michael Collins over here. Will you get that woman off the screen because she's just a waste of space? Could you clarify? Could you elaborate why am I a waste of space by coming on the show and speaking about boxing?
He can't.
It's just the abuse that I get on a day to day.
Do you know what it is, Lady Chann?
And it just doesn't work, mate.
We need to bring in another lady, right? When you come on to kind of balance the equation, you know.
No, you
obviously
don't.
It's
You can if you want.
it's male dominated here, so maybe
no, it
we need to
doesn't
do
matter.
that
I
next
was
time.
on the crime scene, love. Where did you think I come from?
Yeah, you know the other thing we're talking about mentally weak fighters, right? If you notice that when you get an unbeaten fighter, you know they get loads of praise. Everyone talks about their skill set; it's the best in the business. The minute they lose, oh, he can't do this, he can't do that. Joshua, when he lost against when Joshua lost against Ruiz, oh, Josh wasn't that great. He's very chinny. He's like Frankenstein. He's very upright. He hasn't got quick feet. He's slow feet. That's what. And then you look at a situation where Deontay Wilder, this guy had one of the highest percentages on knockouts in the business, and yet all of a sudden he loses to Tyson Fury, who's one of the best heavyweights out there, probably one of the best heavyweights we've had in the last 20 years. All of a sudden,
I will disagree on that. I'll disagree on that.
Well, don't let Adam say that anyway. But you know what I'm trying to say, right? Is that Deontay Wilder is an Olympic bronze medalist, which means he has a pedigree as an amateur. He loses one fight against a great fighter in Tyson Fury. All of a sudden, oh, he can't jab. He hasn't got a left hook. That's what boxing is. The minute you lose a fight, you lose your powers.
But he can't jab, and he ain't got a left hook.
Yeah, you say that, but that right hand is a detonator. And you know when you say risk and reward. Well, if Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder for the third time, and he's already got Anthony Joshua's mindset, Deontay Wilder's going to batter him, knock him clean out, because mentally, when you're fighting a fighter with that detonator right hand, mentally you've got to be able to think about your plan, i.e., in terms of, are you going to go in the trenches and go front foot? Are you going to be on the back foot? Are you going to go switch hit and everything? That's how you deal with someone like Deontay Wilder. Now, Tyson, and that's why Deontay Wilder is still a dangerous fighter. I don't understand why all of a sudden someone with that record can't box. Come on.
Well, he doesn't have really boxing fundamentals. He probably had them while he was in the Olympics, and hence why but he seems to have lost those boxing. Kenny.
We can talk about Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua's only first put on the gloves when he was 18. Tyson Fury's been fighting since he was 11 years old. So, in terms, you could say the same about Joshua, that people say that Anthony Joshua's a bodybuilder, and that he's learning as he's going along, as opposed to Fury. And when Anthony Joshua lost against Ruiz, everyone was talking about him lacking the fundamentals as well. And I think that's what happens a lot with fighters, is that they lose. There's a problem. Ruiz, when he fought Joshua, fast hands, good combinations. All of a sudden, he loses against Joshua, obviously when he's overweight. Oh, he's got fast hands, but he's got slow feet. And I think, sometimes us as boxing fans react very badly when a fighter loses a fight, and we forget everything that got them to the top.
I just kept it consistent. Joshua, you can see the evolution of Joshua fight after fight, and he gets a bad rap because he's pretty much quite green of like 24 fights, and he's cleared up all the belts within the last 5 years, from 2015 to 2020, on a consistent level, and defending mandatories on the way. And then he loses to Ruiz. He comes back, beats Ruiz in a Muhammad Ali-esque type of way. Yeah, with the game plan. That's how he had to beat Ruiz. If you're a good boxer, your game plan doesn't stay the same game plan for every flipping fight. So that was the game plan he needed for that. Then, like I said, when he was going to fight Pulev, I said you're going to see a combination of his skill set of how he fought Ruiz and where he is up until now. And there's going to be a combination of both, which will take Pulev into deep waters. I said a 9th or 10th round knockout. He did that in amazing fashion. And then everyone said, oh, but he looked like he was scared, like he hasn't got over the reef. Everybody turns into psychologist. Like everything that he does is never good enough. Ever good enough. It's ridiculous, in my opinion.
Well, they're going to do that about Tyson as well. And the problem the thing is in boxing now, we now know no fighter is unbeatable. Look what we thought. Triple G was like indestructible. Look what happened there. We think we know that Canelo's isn't indestructible because pretty boy Floyd Mayweather dealt with him. So what's happened? There's always a fighter out there who can beat you, especially at heavyweight title. All it takes is a good right hand in the gob, especially around the temple, and you're out. It doesn't matter whether the fighter's a good fighter, which proves your point that Carlos Takam, Carlos Takam, obviously he's going to lose out in the reach advantage with Tyson Fury. But a short fighter, one of his signature punches is the body shot and the overhand right like that.
Yeah.
And I don't care. When a short fighter gets you an overhand right, 9 out of 10 times he's catching you around the temple, around the ear.
And your equilibrium's gone, you're gone.
You're gone.
Yeah.
You're gone.
Your legs
Kenny,
gone.
you just hit my chin, Kenny. You just hit my chin, man.
I know you felt that, didn't you?
With them biceps. We did, mate.
All right. Okay, look. We've got to flag this up. Okay. Tony Sando, Klitschko didn't lay a glove on Fury, and the press barraged him. Okay, look. Okay. Benji. Tyson Fury did neutralize Klitschko out in Germany all those years back. Were the press a little bit harsh on him afterwards?
I don't really think so. I mean, he went over there. He won the fight fair and square. Me personally, I do remember watching it and trying not to fall asleep because, people talk about Fury schooled Klitschko. Well, it did remind me of school because at school I was trying to keep my eyes open half the time as well. So it wasn't the most interesting fight at all. But touche. Look, and again, there's a whole myriad of things going on around that fight to do with Klitschko and to do with both boxers. But obviously, we've talked about this, ad nauseum many times before. The fact is, though, Fury went out there. He won. He won the fight fair and square. He completely did. Whether it was the most entertaining fight or not, we can debate that all day long. But the fact that he came home and he didn't feel appreciated or felt underappreciated, and it was all a bit woe is me, and it was all a bit, and I just, again, I don't think that's kind of the behavior of, it's not that champion winning mentality to go over somewhere, win, come home and go, oh, well, the press are being mean to me. The press in this country are mean to lots of people. I mean, I don't know if anyone followed what the press have been saying about various people over the last week or so. But, for me personally, if I was famous or popular for doing anything, I don't think I'd want the British media behind me because I think they're
don't
really
even want them in the comments list. Look at the comment section.
Well, this is it. I mean, this is unfortunately that there is an element of it. I mean, it always surprises me whenever I've gone over to America.
Is this Billy Joe Saunders, really? Is this you,
Billy Bob Saunders?
It's Billy
I've got to flag that up for you, Benji. Billy Bob Saunders.
Yeah.
So look, I mean, it always, whenever I've visited America and gone to a sporting event or a concert or whatever, it's amazing because the Americans are always so positive about everything, or seem to be. If they see some kid playing the guitar on the street, busking, they just stood round going, "Oh, that boy can play. He's great." You walk through Birmingham, you see a kid busking, and everyone's going, "Oh, you shit, mate." And we just generally seem to be quite negative.
Yeah.
And we see it in the comments tonight for various reasons. So Fury coming back here, I mean, I thought that was a bit naive on Fury's part to come back here thinking that he was going to, be loved and get all this love. Plenty of people in the boxing community did give him respect and did give him love and all this sort of thing. But to expect that from the gutter press, you're never going to get it. So just get over it.
The thing is, Benji, right? Remember Fury's comments, his attitudes. Remember, we're very. If you don't mind me saying so, you know, we got cancel culture in this country in 2021, and we got a woke in terms of like we're very woke in terms of certain things and certain attitudes. But in 2015, Tyson Fury, you know, had you know, like views on certain things. So he was already an anti-hero anyway. And there was a lot of people, British people, who wanted, you know, I wanted Fury to win because I'm a fan. But there were a lot of British people, especially liberals, who wanted Klitschko to give him an ID. And there were a lot of boxing people who felt the same way as well. So
the thing is, though,
going to get
Kenny,
a hero's welcome.
Well, I mean, I think you've got a good point there, and I think, you know, if Anthony Joshua were to come out with homophobic, nasty comments tomorrow, yeah, I can't get on board and I can't support that because it goes against my view. Wait, just one second. Just 1 second. So if Anthony Joshua came out and said those sort of things, yeah, I would find it hard to support him and get behind him. But what he does in the ring, I could still respect. I mean, look, Floyd Mayweather is not the nicest guy in the world. He's you know, he's beat women, for crying out loud. Of course, I'm completely against that. But was he technically one of the best boxers of all time? In between the ropes, yeah, he was, and I can't, you know, there's two separate things. But I appreciate what you're saying. Sorry, Karen.
But you're talking about Anthony Joshua because I know we got moved this on a bit. Remember Anthony Joshua? Remember the BLM when he had that rally in Watford? There was a lot of people who turned against Anthony Joshua and started going towards Tyson Fury because they were assuming that Anthony Joshua was saying, "Oh, only shopping in black shops and black businesses."
No, there was nothing.
You know, in England, if you're pro-black, that means you're anti-white. You can't and be proud of being black. But if you're proud of being black, that means you're on the same foul swoop. You're anti-white. No, it's not. He's just trying to support black businesses, black-owned businesses.
That's what he's saying. But people turn against him, isn't it?
Can I just say, look, as the only white person on this panel, there was nothing. There was nothing. There was nothing that Anthony Joshua said at that rally that I found racist, and I've had to explain this to people. I've had to explain this, and I mean, I feel a bit silly saying this with three black people on the panel, to be honest, because I don't think it should necessarily be a white person that explains this sort of thing. But from my point of view, when you have someone from a historically repressed and oppressed minority saying we need to stick together and not think that we're going to get anything handed to us from a historically oppressive majority, I don't find that racist, and I think that was lost on a lot of people. Yeah. But I'm interested. I'm interested to hear you guys' views on it. I don't think anything that Anthony Joshua said at that rally was racist, and I think the people that came out and said, "Oh well, if Tyson Fury said something like that," well, look, Tyson Fury is a white man from a historically oppressive race majority. That's what the difference is. It's the difference between punching up and punching down. It's the difference between David and Goliath. It'd be like saying, "Oh, David was a bully because he knocked out Goliath, who was God knows how much bigger than him and scarier and murdering people." So anyway,
has anyone seen Anthony Joshua's mother of his child?
I haven't actually.
She's absolutely like mixed race, but more towards like she looks like a white woman, quite mixed. So this is why I just don't listen to what people's got to say over here. It's just like whatever. Who cares? Move it along. Let's go on.
Look what I started, eh?
Yeah. Let's go to the next bit, Pro.
All right.
Because people don't get it, and I ain't got time to go into it.
All right. Okay. Cool. You know what? Again, this is an open forum for the guests that are on there to kind of say their thing. You know, I got a main neutral, but
exactly.
okay, Victor, Brother, I call that Fury win lucky though. He shouldn't have ducked the rematch. He's talking about a Klitschko fight, Benji.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would have liked it, to be honest. I'd have liked to have seen a rematch because me personally, I know that I know that Klitschko mentally had some issues with the first Fury fight. His wife was very sick at the time, and I do wonder how focused Klitschko was. A rematch would have put any of that to bed. I think in a rematch in this country, Fury could have raised his stock a hell of a lot more to defending the titles in this country. It could have upped his profile and everything like that. I am disappointed that a rematch between those two never came about. And it could have been a trilogy because Klitschko wanted that rematch. He was desperate for that rematch because in his view, he wasn't right on that night and he didn't perform, and he wanted to avenge that. And I think we saw an element of that with the Anthony Joshua fight. Klitschko came into the Joshua fight in incredible shape, very focused. He came to win that fight. He wanted to win that fight, and then maybe fought a Klitschko fight. So I am, as a boxing fan, I am a bit gutted that Fury Klitschko 2 never happened. But there you go.
All right. Okay, look. Obviously, look, there's been some criticism of Tyson Fury in this panel, but the guy's a high-class fighter, no doubt about it. And I think we saw in Vegas a year ago how good he is. You know, I know people criticize Wilder, but the guy's a hell of a fighter. We've got to give him some props.
Well, he's a favourite. He's a favourite for this fight. Look, I'm going to be honest with everyone on the panel. I know, because at the end of the day, I've got a foot in both camps. I'm a massive fan of Tyson Fury as well as Anthony Joshua. So whoever wins, I just want them to be well. But if I'm going by a boxing man, I can't see how Anthony Joshua wins this fight because I've seen all facets of Tyson Fury's skill set. I'm not saying Anthony Joshua hasn't got that, but Tyson Fury can fight on the back foot. He can fight southpaw. We now know that he can fight close up and he fights combinations and he can come in. He's got speed of hand and foot. I'm not saying that Joshua hasn't got speed of hand and foot, but I feel that Tyson Fury can match Joshua for aggression. I feel and that Tyson Fury
ain't got power. He ain't got the power of those.
Oh, yeah. You say
that like in the 60s, top end of 60%, and AJ is like 98%.
Yeah, but you know what happens is that 9 out of 10 times when a big hitter fights a boxer, 9 out of 10 times the big hitter gets put on the floor because it's timing. Yeah, and I think that's where Fury can stop Anthony Joshua in terms of elimination.
Cunningham,
wow, stop.
An ex-cruiserweight.
Yeah, all right. All right.
Let's be real. No.
Yeah, but all right, Deontay Wilder, although you think he can't box, look what he did to him. He can do a demolition job. He's done a demolition job. He's done a demolition job on Deontay Wilder in the second fight. I just think in terms of like all-round boxing ability, I think that there's certain things that if Tyson Fury fights at long range, I don't see how Joshua can win this fight. I really don't.
Tyson Fury, there's no point fighting long range. I said that even Joshua's like mid range to like fights in the inside. It's just gonna have to be. It's gonna have to be fighting on the inside. Anthony Joshua's not going to be able to keep Tyson Fury at the end of any jab. That's not possible. Tyson Fury's not going to be able to keep Anthony Joshua at the end of any jab. Them jabs will have to be slipped, ducked under, uppercuts. Anthony Joshua come in, side, left hook, right uppercut. If he lands that combo on Fury, it's going down time for Fury.
I don't see him getting there.
To see Fury's power. I don't believe. Obviously, Fury's 6'9", 270 pounds. Of course, he's going to have knockout power. But in the grand scheme of things, I've never seen Fury as the amazing knockout artist. I haven't seen it as yet. And power.
Does he have to be the knockout artist to win this fight?
Yeah, he does. Afraid of this.
Does he? Not necessarily.
Yeah, he does.
He can win this country of points.
If we're doing the points thing, they're equally. Anthony Joshua can fight and score points as well. People act like Joshua cannot box.
We know that. We know he can box.
He
But
boxed
Fury's
round
better.
Ruiz part 2 in the rematch and won every round. Maybe someone.
Yeah. He had a reach advantage over
Carl
Ruiz.
Lewis, why don't I have a clue? Go home, love. I don't. You go up. I am at home. That's the thing. I'm at home. Yeah, I'm on here and you're not. Get a life. Yeah, people act like Anthony Joshua cannot box. Like
We never said that. But
so if it goes for points, why is it automatically a Tyson Fury win on points?
because it's a 9 out of 10 times, Anthony Joshua wouldn't be able to get in the situation where his signature punch is the uppercut, like a double uppercut and then the left hook. He won't be able to do that if Tyson Fury's if he's on the end of Tyson Fury's jab. He's throwing right hands and his speed of hand and foot, and then where he's getting out of range. You have to be in range for Anthony Joshua to be able to get through those combinations and then getting those signature uppercuts.
Did either of you see De La Hoya versus Mosley 2?
Yes.
Second fight. Well, you see, Shane Mosley won that on points.
Yeah.
And it was quite a debate went on after that fight, because Oscar De La Hoya, for at least the first half, maybe 2/3 of the fight, was behind a jab, very evasive, jabbed away a lot. Shane Mosley worked in much smaller bursts, landing sort of heavier shots. And when it came to the scorecards, it was really about what do you like and how much do you have the jab as a scoring shot.
Yeah.
So that there was a big debate. I mean, Oscar De La Hoya thought he won that fight. He believed he should have won that fight. He was on the back foot, using a lot of movement, using a lot of jabs. And I just wonder that if this fight does go 12 rounds, there could be, whoever wins it, there could be a very strong debate on both sides about why their boxer should have won. Because it's going to be whether you like the sort of peppering, tippy-tappy jabs and movement of Fury, or whether big meaty shots.
Being the aggressor. And
exactly.
Look at different things.
All right, Lyndon Arthur, again, Lyndon Arthur, Anthony Yard. Lyndon Arthur had his right hand, he fought on a back foot. He won it in the left jab. We all saw Anthony Yard being the aggressor, coming forward. But in terms of like the jab, he could do his work.
That's the scoring.
And it wasn't just like a tap. It was a bang, bang, and he comes back, and then Yard's face marked up, and that's what was called a punch. Bang, bang, bang. You know what I mean? And I think that's what Tyson Fury's going to do. He's not going to be like bang, bang, left hook, uppercut. And I think that's where he's going to discourage Joshua, and that's where he's going to go bang, 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 and he's going to be out of range. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. I'm definitely intrigued to see it, and don't get it twisted. Tyson Fury is a really obviously good boxer, and everything that you said, I've taken that into consideration. But I just don't think people consider the pros of what Anthony Joshua brings to the table. It's almost everything is cancelled out what he can do because of Fury can do this. Who has evolved more as a fighter over the last 5, 6?
Oh, easily Anthony. There's no doubt. No doubt.
Yes.
And the thing about it as well, he's got Robert McCracken as a good trainer. Yeah. You remember Carl Froch? Everyone looked at Carl Froch, right hand. But you know when Carl Froch went to fight Arthur Abraham, it was like a boxing lesson. Like he fought off the back foot because Arthur Abraham can bang as well. So it was like bang, bang, bang. But it wasn't just like that. Bang, bang. And then in and out. And it was movement and everything. So maybe Anthony can do that because we saw it with Ruiz.
Who knows, isn't it? We just won't know until we actually see when they're in the ring what styles that they're going to bring.
Yeah, I actually think it's actually all about the game plan for me. You know, it's all about the game plan. Whoever puts that together the best is going to win the first fight. And then the second fight, a lot of people are saying, you know what, they feel like it might be 1-1, and then the third fight.
There ain't going to be a second fight, in my opinion.
Nah,
and this is
great.
Someone in the comments said that earlier, that there will be no second fight.
What's going to happen I think what's going to happen, if Tyson Fury wins the first fight, he's gone. He rides off into the sunset and retires.
100%. Even if he loses, he runs off the sunset. Tyson Fury ain't sticking around.
And if he loses, I was just about to say the same thing. He rides off into the sunset with that money and he's gone. I honestly don't believe, and with his track record, he ain't really good at honouring his word with rematches and Trilogy. Sorry.
Wow. But guys, before we kind of close, you want to kind of respond to that in the comments. If Fury wins or loses, that will be it.
Whilst you're doing that, I'm gonna sort of do some sparring anyway. Bang, 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 bang.
Get him, Ken. Get him for me.
I would like to see Kenny Ken against Joe Joyce. I think that's a fantastic fight.
Don't worry, mate. It's just like bang. They didn't even see it. You didn't see it. Bang, 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 bang.
Got him.
After last week, I'm surprised we're not getting Kenny versus Derek Chisora.
That would be a fantastic fight.
Don't. I do not. What? Please. I'm in a good mood.
No one likes smoke, do ya?
Benji, anyone in the panel, please tell me that I was out of order with what I said. Is Derek Chisora nicking a living or what? Please tell me.
I'll tell you that
he's
rant.
He's a journeyman.
That rant was one of the best things I've ever seen. Kenny,
I like
watching
it.
I watched it a number of times. If you're going to do a rant like that again, tell me because I have to get the popcorn ready. It was awesome. It was brilliant.
I didn't see it.
Last week's live chat.
Lady Chann, the way I look at it, right, is that there's meat, right, and there's loads of fighters who want that meat, and there's loads of up and coming fighters. That man is taking food out of young fighters' mouths. He's taking money out of their wallets. Derek Chisora is a punch bag of the British heavyweight scene. He is basically pork pie. Remember pork pie in Desmond's? The person just comes in there, doesn't pay any money to have his haircut, but just hangs around. That is Derek Chisora. Time for you to pack your bags, go back on your farm, and go and produce some cheese and milk. We've had enough of you, right? Every time you fought a major fighter, you've lost. You've lost. Twice to Dylan White. Twice to Tyson Fury.
For the heavyweight division.
Pulev battered you. We don't want to look. We don't want to see about you losing heroically. All right.
Fury beating.
We're not. This isn't a film script. This is a real life. These are fighters, up and coming fighters in the heavyweight scene. Need to have their share of the pie. All right. We're not paying £14.95 to see you lose against Parker. It's over, Derek. Stop.
Say it again, Kevin.
It's over.
Say it again. Day for day.
We're going to have to digress.
And that's how you like the touch paper. That's how you like the touch paper.
That's mine.
Get his client and then keep it moving now, innit? It's true. It's
okay.
I'm with you, Ken. I'm with you. Trust me.
All right.
I like Chisora fights, but it's game over now. You nearly fall.
Chisora's entertaining, man. He's entertaining.
Yeah, but your entertainment shouldn't cost us £20.
Yeah, exactly.
On Sky Box Office.
Well,
when you go to a rate, how much you spend?
Yeah. You have to boycott then, don't you? That's the only way. I mean,
you'll see the numbers dwindle because if he fights Parker on pay-per-view, I don't see it doing some big amounts. To be fair, do you?
I don't think that should be a pay-per-view.
It will be,
but it will be. Oh yeah, it will be. But whether I actually buy it or not, probably not. I can't see myself buying it.
You know the most entertaining thing about that? The most entertaining about that fight, it's not actually going to be the fight. It's going to be Higgins, who's probably going to get have a bit of a schoolboy playground thing with Eddie Earn, Parker's manager, and you're going to have David Hay for the 10th time saying,
he's a new Chisora.
Best shape. He's a new Chisora. He's in the best shape of his life.
Wait till you see him. Best shape. We've got my old team, the nutritionist, this and that.
Everything.
Yeah.
Exactly. All you see is Parker go, bang, bang. Chisora go.
But Ken, we've come full circle. Right. Yeah? We've come full circle. All Derek has to do is throw.
I love it. I work there, Benji. I love to hear this.
Just throw a table at the press conference. The casual fans buy it. The casual fans go into it, and that's it.
Tables don't fight back. Tables don't fight. Tables don't hit back. People
His
don't
press
get back.
conferences are better than the fights.
Well, that's it. But that it's
I'll
just
pay.
the
I'll pay
clown show. Isn't it?
pay-per-view for the press conference.
Well, that's
The
why.
fight.
That's
Eddie will
that's
bring
why
it in. Eddie will start it.
and you know, Adam Smith as well and Sky. Why are you doing this?
Just a tweet that I saw
Eddie,
today,
I
and
love it.
a tweet I retweeted today was someone said, "Look, if Joshua and Fury happens, hopefully, wouldn't it be fantastic to get a 24/7 style behind the scenes, behind the ropes?"
Hey, I'm still busting up.
Thing.
Sorry, you
I'm trying to talk serious here. What-
Kenny, you just finished it. That was a mic drop, mate. Drop mic. Walk off.
But I'm trying to get us back on track
Sorry,
here. But,
Benji.
hopefully, if because talk about press conferences and all this sort of thing. Hopefully, for AJ and Fury, I'd love to see a 24/7 style behind the scenes 4-part documentary
You're getting
type
it.
thing.
We're getting it whether we want it or not.
We're getting it.
You think?
So look, you mentioned that, like Benji, you know, that type of documentary to kind of build it up, along with obviously, you know, trying to build the press for this mega fight. This fight ain't happening soon then, because you got to build it more. You got to build it.
Which channel is it going to be on?
Let me dream.
Hang on it. Which channel is it going to be on?
Who's
gonna...
It's whoever bids the highest.
Is that
Whoever bids the highest.
Yeah, so
I think it has to be on both somehow.
Yeah. I think they plan to share it.
They're trying to share it, I heard.
Rounds 1 through every odd numbered round will be on Sky, and even numbers will be on BT Sport. That's the fairest way.
Could you imagine?
Hey guys, you know you're going to laugh about this, right? I've had the most fun ever, but I've got my daughter's driving me because
I've got to run as well.
Died as well. My battery's died as well.
All right, let's close. Let's close.
I'm with
all right, let's close. Let's go. Lady Chann, you want to shout out your channel? And obviously just kind of see us out.
Like, you know, this type of vibe, talking about boxing, head over to Lady Chann Done Them season. Like, you know, it's good boxing content. It's bounce. I have some good guests. I have Pro Beez as well, sometimes on the panel. I'd love to have all of you guys on the panel. This was amazing, funny. Nice to meet you. Nice. That actually made me laugh. Kenny, that one was epic. I'm going to actually rewatch just this section of what you just said. It's Chisora. So, guys, thanks for having me. Pro, thanks for having me. Anybody wants to subscribe, it's cool. If you don't like, don't like. If you want to like. If you comment. If you don't. It's up to you. We live in a free country.
All right, Kenny, you want to shout out your social media?
Well, Kenny? I'm Kenny Ken 1972 on Twitter and Instagram. Also, let's not forget. 2 weeks time, Dillian White is on the last chance saloon. You know what I mean? He can't mess it up because he's on the cusp of, you know, getting back into the scene. He has to win this fight. I'll tell Dillian White, keep your hands up next time, mate.
Yeah, you're right, man.
Yeah.
I wish on another one we should really discuss this. Got the Pro, like about the Dillian White thing coming up. Yeah,
we're gonna do that, man.
Before the fight happens, it's in a couple of weeks, isn't it? So
yeah, we're gonna do that. Maybe we'll just load it up next time with as many as we can.
One more fight, guys. One more fight. Yeah. Shannon Courtney, Ebony Bridges. Ebony Bridges as well.
Yawn.
Here we go, Benji. Yeah. All right. So, you make sure you don't have Benji on the panel. Make sure you get your other people on the panel.
Don't have me on the panel for either.
No, you know what? I was just trying to make a suggestion. I think I might tap out as well out of that one.
All right, Benji, to close, do you want to shout out your stuff? Handles?
Kenny's the best.
Lady Chann, Kenny Ken, Pro Beez, as always, absolute pleasure. I've thoroughly enjoyed. Yeah, it's been fantastic. My Twitter is at the Benji Life, and my Instagram is at Living the Benji Life. And I am going to get back on my YouTube channel because I want to talk about Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo. I want to talk about Derek Chisora. I want to talk about Fury and AJ. I'm getting back onto the YouTube because I've sorted out my life a little bit over the last couple of weeks.
Cool,
you know
yeah.
how it is. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Much love to everyone.
All right. Much love, guys. The contracts have been signed. All right. Put that in the comments what you think about AJ and Fury.
Fury,
let us know.
unanimous decision.
Sorry, someone said say our predictions. So it's pretty much split down the middle for me. I think if they do actually fight twice, I think AJ wins one and I think Fury wins one.
Fury unanimous points decision.
Wow. Benji?
I think it's a complete 50-50 fight.
I think it's split down the middle.
You know, I might as well. I just flip a pick. Joshua wins.
Right.
The first one. Yeah,
Me?
I think Joshua wins the first one, but if it goes to a second, Fury could win the second one.
The boxing world wins. If the fight gets made,
That's what I was
two
gonna
get
say.
in the ring. The box.
Yeah.
I wanted to beat you to it.
That is the corporate answer. The boxing world. Eddie Hearn wins. Bob Arum wins. Frank Warren wins.
Their bank
Frank
account wins.
Yeah.
Their bank account wins.
All right. See you guys
All
soon,
right,
man.
guys. Thanks for your time, guys. Thanks for joining. Viewers, thank you.